Wake up early every morning just to do her hair now because it can't y'all. But it all wouldn't be right without her makeup. She's never out of makeup. She does it like you and me, but she's homeless. She's homeless. As she stands there singing for money. La dee la dee la la dee la. It's hard not to care about the homeless, 'cause you got your homeless. You never make enough for you, well, if she all lies, did you apologize? And then a smile says please, and she stands there singing for money. La da dee la 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 dee la.
Shit. Come on. Happy Friday, guys. Welcome to Live at 5. That was the Gypsy mix. Guys, know that they fly, know that they ride or die. I keep wearing my side. CJ Ike, never gonna roll with ice. All these my guys, know that they fly, know that they ride or die. I keep wearing my side. CJ Ike, never gonna roll with ice. Wake up early every morning just to do a hair now. Complicated, y'all. But I wouldn't be right without her makeup. She's never out of makeup. She doesn't like you and me, but she's homeless. She's homeless. I just stand there swinging for money. Oh my God, we're getting crazy. All right, good to see you. Welcome. Just a mini dance party. That's all. Welcome to Live at 5, the only show that starts at 6:30. Today's topic is Black Gypsy Rose, the OG hustlers of the 1370s. I have a bunch of information that we can make light, no matter how dark it may be. That's what we like to do on this show. We make light of the dark. You got Brad Pitt there. You got great film. But I took the font. Black Gypsies. Look at that. Friday edition, guys. Right there. Now, before we get into that, of course, we're going to share art with friends, like we always do. Every Wednesday through Friday, I like to share art with friends. And then we get into the show. Welcome to Live at 5, guys. Good to see you.
We're going live at 5.
Yeah, share some art. I'm going to go straight to Mark. No affirmations today. I got 2 little clips. Then we get straight into the show. It's not going to be a long one. I promise you that. Because it's Friday. And Money in the Bank's tomorrow. Shout out to Money in the Bank. Who you got? My money's on R-Truth. Rest in peace to R-Truth. He's not dead, but I can't believe they fired him. It stings. It stings. It stinks. Yeah, we're gonna get into some our Negroes in the chat. Love to see it. Anything on my team? Anything on my team? Good to see you. As always.
The African American woman is the backbone of the Black family. Really, of the whole American family. I mean, who wasn't raised by a Black woman? I know I was. You know what? I'm getting a phone call, so I'm going to have to put a pause in this conversation, which I'm really enjoying.
All right. Thank you for joining me. Yes, today is Black Gypsy Rose, the OG hustlers of the 1370s. I'll get into a brief explanation of who these Afro-Romanis are, why I'm bringing it up, and why it's important. Maybe not to
White people.
but it's important to Black people because you'll see. You'll just have to tune in to see. All right, gonna check out some videos with Mark, art with Mark, and then we're gonna get into the show. Welcome to Live at 5. The show starts at 6:30. Thank you for joining me.
You know we finally did it, right?
We're going live.
You know we finally did it, right?
We're going live at 5-ish. 6 o'clock. We're going live at 6 o'clock. 6 5.
My dear sweetheart, I got my gypsy shirt. I get this pimple checked out. Gotta get that checked out. You ever see something on somebody's face and you fear for them? That happened the other day. Me and my wife were watching TV, and then we noticed a mole on an actor's face, and we were like, "Whoa, she should get that mole checked out."
Follow us on Instagram. Connect on Facebook, wherever you get your podcasts. We'll be right back.
Just look cancerous. That's all. Gotta watch out for that. Gotta watch those moles. Okay. That was fun. We're gonna get into friend art remark, and then the topic at hand. See what videos that he decided to send to my inbox today. It was yes, it was Tyler. I know you want to touch my body. No.
Enough champagne to fill the Nile. Kalel, no. Max Lord, you're putting yourself and everyone else in grave danger. I need you to give me the whole gun boat if I have to. Who are you? The lasso of Hastia compels you to reveal the truth.
Very similar. That's how Twyla sounds. Like that. Like Gal Gadot. Incomprehensible. Broken English. A new song, though. I was supposed to do New Music Friday today, but I didn't do that because I was too busy looking up a fucking race of people that no one knows of. So maybe this was more important.
This is not me. I'm fighting for my life. This is not me. I'm fighting for my life.
I know you want to touch my body. Her music is not for me. Her new song is a little deeper. Still not for me. Okay, let's share some videos with Mark. Thank you for that. I had that brain freeze. Is the medication working? That is the question.
Does that make you feel a certain way?
All right, let's see what this lady's saying. This looks good. She's giving concerned face. Concern in the face.
Some people just aren't meant to amount to anything. What if everyone amounted to something? Then amounted to something. Some people just then amounted to something wouldn't be special. Your constant failure allows other people to shine.
That's awesome. What powerful advice, especially for a Friday. Love that. Yes. It's okay to fail. As long as you fail with class. And fail first. Don't be the last to fail. That's what I say. Don't be, if you heard it here first.
You know where that came? That came from me.
That came from me. It was my doing.
Be the first to fail. Don't be the last. Terrible advice. All right. Love that. I think that's pretty good. Hilarious. This gets. Hold on. Don't freeze on me, old girl. We got it. See, it doesn't like when I do the gifs. It doesn't like that. It just says type. All right. All right. Brilliant. That's it. That's all. Shout out to Twyla.
I don't need.
All right. Let's see what else we got. You want to, but to my body. Now that's gonna be my thing for the whole fucking episode. Now I'm gonna need a Twyla button. Why did I do that? All right. I hope the Nazi cover up their swastika tattoo today. Looking at it now, you'll never know it was there. Pretty wild what 6 feet of dirt can do. Ha. Killing a Nazi. Tee-hee. Okay. That's it. That's all we got for today. One's about don't be afraid to fail, and another one's about burying Nazis. Typical Friday behavior, guys. So this gets a heart. Love it. He said, "What you punkers think?" And he said, with 3 chicken bones. So whatever that means. What you punkers think? 3 chicken bones. Classic Mark behavior. I never know. I barely know what he's talking about half the time. So most of the time I have to ask. So I'll follow up on that, and I'll let you know what the 3 chicken bones mean. Seems like it's offline now. But if he comes online, I'll get the answer to that 3 chicken bone question. Process? I don't know. All right. Where were we? Well, that was fun. Guys, that was Art with Friends. That's it. Just 2 arts. That's it. Want to follow your ex on platforms. What if your family relatives, because now you can see what other people can see. So what if your family relatives also see you cheating on your wife or your girlfriend? Crazy shit. I'm just saying it's just not worth it. I wish that they could put. I know you're supposed to block them yourself, which I have. This is not me talking about myself, obviously.
This is not me. I'm fighting for my life. This is not me.
I'm just talking about for those who do. Just keep in mind that everyone can see what you like now, so you should just be careful because everyone can see that you're checking out your ex and liking her photos. So just don't do that. All right. Welcome to Live at 5. Today's topic is Black Gypsy Road, the OG's hustlers of 1370s. Got some nice views yesterday. I appreciate that. Yesterday's topic was, of course, we talked about the cleanliness of Christ, the litter of Bethlehem. Great show. Today we got another banger. It's just the OG, the Black Gypsies, y'all. That's all. The Forgotten Hustlers. Oh, there we go. We got it. Shouts to AI. Had it right on the money. I just said, hey, can you duplicate Snatch? Easy. She said, give me something harder to do.
I strongly believe that TikTok.
All right. So first I want to give a brief description of of whom I'm speaking of today. And then we could get into some clips, some dips, some dabs. Clips, dips, and dabs.
Okay. Well.
The Afro-Romani, that term itself. Again, welcome to Live at 5, the only show that starts at 6:30.
I wish a nigga
would like, subscribe, and share.
Before I get into this, I would like to beg for money. As you can see, the Cash App is here. And just, share the video, like the video, be productive. If it looks like a mental breakdown, you know what to do.
Regular, it's regular, no.
Just donate or share it, whatever. It was Twyla. Thank you for that. You want to touch my body? All right. Where was I? Okay. Well, all right. So these are the Afro-Romani people. They refer to the descendant of the Romani people as a whole, but they're within the African diaspora. 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 Their history is complex and intertwined with the transatlantic slave trade and the long history of the Romani enslavement in Europe. The time of their arrival, like I mentioned in the title, is around 1370, and they are documented as the most forgotten of all of the Romani people. Now, just like us, they were subjugated to chattel slavery, just like us, by the same people, Europeans, and also by Spain as well. Spanish people always got their crazy little malachas, the crazy little hands in there. You know what I mean? They always get their hands in there. Not all.
Go back to my home country. You can get reconnected with your roots. Yeah, go back.
There better not be any Spanish there, okay? Especially coming from your unemployed ass mouth.
So the Europeans, the tribes were the Wallachia and the Moldavia, which is W-A-L-L. First of all, keep in mind, I'm going to be butchering a lot of this today.
Once again, I'm not an activist. I'm just caught up in the shit. When you start the shit, you can't stop the shit till you finish the shit. I'm in the shit.
But I'll do my best. Wallachia and Moldavia. Now, this was in the 14th century. Now, when the abolition happened in the mid-19th century, this is between the 1850s and 1860s. This is when we, around us, our time, this is where they turned up the brutality of the slavery, and they just started calling them properties, the same thing they did to us. So in the beginning, they were using them as just your standard slave, where the one who just works and goes home and what have you, just like your carpetbagger, kind of like the Irish. But once the 1800s came and they started seeing how the Europeans was treating us, they decided, the slave owners of the Romani people decided to turn it up just like how they were doing. And they started doing all the same sort of weird shit that they did to us, all this outrageous physical abuse, just, the torture and rape and all of this stuff. So, then they started getting into buying and selling them as well. So this is a group of people who decided to, I guess I want to say, stay off the grid. And I have a video explaining that. And now I'll get into some more facts, but I don't want to just yell facts at you. I just wanted to introduce the people that I'm speaking of. And then we can get into a little bit about, their connection with Britain, and we could get into how their past has had terrible effect on their growth as a society, which is very similar to a group of people I know.
But yeah, it's fun. It's just weird to. I was gonna say funny. It's not funny, but it's weird to see a group of people that I've never heard of be treated with such. You would think it was only us when they had that level of European hatred, but the Afro-Romanians, they got it the same way. They got it the same way. So we'll get into a video about an introduction of them, and then they'll explain a lot better than I did. But hey, I got some facts. Hey, listen, guys, pre-show here, all right?
We're going live at 5. Ooh, ow, we're going live at 5-ish. 6 o'clock. We're going live at 6 o'clock.
You know we finally here, right?
It's Friday, then.
Get into some clips and introduce the Afro-Romanian people, and then I'll share some more facts. And I probably have some facts that'll bounce off of what they say. So if I have anything that's has anything to do with the French, I have some stuff about that. So we can talk about that. And if they don't mention that or skip the people who they were colonized by or who they were enslaved by, I have all of the information of who enslaved them. And it's very similar to the same people who enslaved us over the years. So I'll get into some clips and dips. This is going to be a fun one, like I said. I know. Slavery again. Oh, man.
Does that make you feel a certain way?
Who wants to talk about slavery? Who wants to talk about slavery on a Friday? This guy. Look, could you imagine? You didn't know that. Did you know that these people existed? Nobody knows. You love to know that nobody knows. I found it fascinating. First of all, oh shit, no. I'll do you one better. I got you. I have a clip. The initial clip that got me on this story was a TikTok clip, and I got the TikTok clip for you. And before I do that, I'm gonna play a disclaimer because this is all edutainment. Edutainment purposes. This is all for edutainment purposes only. I gotta get this tethered tongue together.
Copyright disclaimer. Under Section 107 of the Copyright Act of 1976, allowance is made for fair use for purposes such as criticism, comment, news reporting, teaching, scholarship, and research. Fair use is a use permitted by copyright statutes that might otherwise be infringing. Nonprofit, educational, or personal use tips the balance in favor of fair use.
Take it from the top. Let's say it one time from the top.
Copyright disclaimer. Under Section 107 of the Copyright Act of 1976, allowance is made for fair use for purposes such as criticism, comment, news reporting, teaching, scholarship, and research. Fair use is a use permitted by copyright statutes that might otherwise be infringing. Nonprofit, educational, or personal use tips the balance in favor of fair use.
Tight. Okay, let's get into it. Let's get into the damn show, y'all.
We're going live at 5. We're going live at 5. 6 o'clock. We're going live at 6 o'clock. 6:05. Ooh, that's it.
So yeah, we'll get an introduction of who they are. Oh, if you're into games, it's Summer Game Fest started today. So check that out. Just go to YouTube, go to Summer Game Fest. That started today. Today's the first day. They share all the games that are coming out, etc., etc. Fun stuff. So if you're into gaming, I know everyone's got a Switch 2. See everyone's photos of their new Switch 2s. And then I also totally pissed. Livid at the price of Mario being $70. But still, they bought it anyway. So what are you gonna do? Right? So let's get to the I got this funny guy that explains it, but I don't know if I like him. He's okay. I guess he's a little bit on the spectrum. You know those people. I can't make fun of people like that because I edit like that. But when people edit like that and just keep putting shit, no, let me calm down because my wife has told me to calm down on editing one time in my life where it was like every single other sound I had to put something behind it, and she was like, "You gotta dial that back." I feel like it's a cartoon or something like that, and it's very true. So watching this guy's cover of this thing was just too much. But I'll skip and see what's going on. I want to know if I'm live on Instagram. I don't see any. Maybe there's just no comments. Okay. 3 people in the room just not writing. All right, no problem. Welcome to Live at 5, the only show that starts at 6:30.
We're going live at 5. We're going live at 5.
So let's get into the introduction of the Gypsies. And yeah. Bada bing, bada boom, that's all. Now, there's a lot of people have different takes. I know that they are African, but other people are calling them Indian. So it's hard to get the proper, how do I say, the depiction of them, because everyone's claiming them, even though they're just called Afro-Romani. That's it. But other videos and people are calling them Indian. So many different videos are calling them different things. That's all. But this video is going to explain where they're located and why they fled, and a little bit about their background. Let's turn this sumbitch down to 720p because we don't want no problems. Working a lot to Live at 5, the only show that starts at 6:30.
We're going live at 5. Live. We're going live at 6. Don't find it, right? 6:5. That's it.
Let me share my screen. Hope you're enjoying your Friday. I am. I'm enjoying my Friday because I get to share this. Look at this. The history of the Romani Gypsies. Now, this says from India to Europe. When they say words like Persian, we all know that Persian is African, right? Persian people are African people. So when he's going to say Persian a lot, and then some other stuff, but then we'll know who he's talking about. All right.
What if I told you that late medieval Europe was absolutely chock full of Indians? That's right. Meet the Romani, or Gypsies, the itinerant people of Europe. Here's the thing. They're originally from India. Romani have long been seen as outsiders and outcasts in Europe due to their communal fortune tellers and mystics, and sometimes even spies. Europeans struggled to figure out how these groups fit into their increasingly centralized, industrialized societies. It didn't help that Romani were outwardly very different. They had dark skin, silky black hair, unique clothes, and embraced religious traditions that were alien to Europe. And so the Europeans gave them an exotic identity, a foreign mystique, but their ignorance wasn't entirely incorrect. Romani themselves recognized that they were not originally from Europe. Famously, one tradition placed their ancestors in ancient Egypt, which gave rise to the controversial term gypsy. But the narrative was incomplete until finally there was a...
When they put on that music in the background, you know that they don't know that Egyptians are black. So if you hear like ding ding ding, this is the Mummy or whatever. This person has a like walk like an Egyptian mind of what a original Egyptian is. So hence the music. And then he's got him holding a guitar, which is weird. I don't know. Whatever. Whatever. But yeah. So they're from Egypt, which means of course Africa, right? And they were treated differently because of their dark skin. Not the hair wasn't silky, no silky hair. The hair was natted. It was African hair, and I got photos and stuff like that. We'll get into that. But this is just the best version and the shorter version of the introduction of them that I could get. And then I'll get into some factual stuff in a bit, as far as like the what matters doesn't matter, but it does kind of matter. Who's keeping score? But I'll get like the actual skin color of these gypsies and why they decided to go off the grid and why they are back in the spotlight for some strange reason. Let me get back in frame. Hold on. What the hell? Why does he touch the camera when he's rolling? Oh my goodness. Look at this one. Now he got his hand on the film there. Oh, eh. All right. All right, we're good. Tether tongue.
I wish a nigga like, subscribe, and share.
The breakthrough. In the 18th and 19th centuries, new linguistic analysis revealed the truth, a truth that has since been confirmed by genetic studies. The Gypsies are Indian.
Odin Valhalla Rising, now available on mobile and PC, exclusively.
Just that, by way of he's mixing it up because he just said Egypt. It's Persian, and he's confusing the Indian with the Persian, and he's just calling them Indian. But they are Africans from Egypt that went through Persia or whatever, and then ended up where they ended up. But we'll get there. But the way he's explaining this, as he's saying Indian, but we know what he means. All right.
India to Europe nearly 1,000 years ago. These migrations were a response to catastrophic upheavals in the Indian subcontinent due to Muslim invasion, first Arab and then Turkic. And so it's in India where we'll begin our exploration. The Romani are comprised of distinct communities, each of which have their own unique history. Today, our narrative will follow two main groups in Europe, the Roma and the Sinti. First, let's talk about the origins of the Sinti. In the 7th and 8th centuries, the Rashidun and Umayyad Caliphate rapidly expanded Muslim territory through conquest, sweeping through the Middle East, North Africa, the Indian subcontinent. India was quite a prize. It was prosperous, populous, and best of all, full of non-believers. This was perfect for the Umayyads, who wanted to rule over as many non-believers as possible. You heard that right. Through the imposition of a jizya tax on non-Muslims, the Umayyads cultivated a privileged Arab aristocracy. Conversion to Islam was limited through clan association requirements and other restrictions. After all, if there were too many Muslims, tax revenues would decrease. Fun fact, historians estimate that in the mid-8th century, only 8 to 10% of the caliphate's population was actually Muslim. Okay, back to India. The Umayyad
Christians came to capture them because of their beliefs. There was too many religions. There's multiple tribes of the Afro-Romanis. The Sintis are some. I said I was going to interject if he mentioned something about the if I have notes on something like that. So so I'm just going to read I'm going to read the tribes before they got separated, because of course they were separated just like us. There's a Bayash tribe, a Kaudarash, and which again is from these were forced marriages. African forced marriages that they had to do to other races and things like that, just like us, to spread spread their property or whatever, them as property to spread to build more property. They had to have intermarriages and build more people, I guess. I hate saying it. I don't even know what. I guess they had to breed them. They had to breed them to have more slaves. So the same thing. So yeah. So they traded them with the horses. They traded them with the cattle. They had a the different tribes that they had from the beginning of. Let's go back to that. They had to separate them because of the fact that the different people who wanted to purchase them lived all over the world. So we have people from the Caribbeans, France, and London who wanted to purchase these Romanian slaves. So they had to separate all of the tribes. So there's a tribe called the Machwaya, which is the Machwaya, which is a Romanian tribe, and that tribe is affiliated within the United States. So, so there's still a tribe here. There's another tribe called the Gitanos, Gitanos, which is a tribe in Louisiana and Cuba. So these are tribes that are still active now, that are just on their own, and they were kicked out of their land because of their beliefs and their customs.
Subcontinent, intending to take all of India for themselves. But they didn't expect such a fierce, coordinated, and relentless resistance. By the 740s, they had been routed by an unlikely alliance of Rajputs and South Indian Chalukyas. The Umayyads may have been repulsed, but early on, they managed to capture Sindh, a prosperous, cosmopolitan region in the northwest. Let me be clear. The takeover was disastrous for the people of Sindh. During the invasion, the Umayyads destroyed cities, farmland, and infrastructure. As if that wasn't bad enough, hundreds of thousands of locals were enslaved and sent to the bustling slave markets of the Middle East. Severe drought struck the region, and because so much farmland and infrastructure had been destroyed by the invaders, millions starved. Under difficult circumstances, migration is expected, predictable. And so the Sindhi, an itinerant community originating in Sindh, began their long journey west, becoming the first of the gypsy groups to leave India. But what about the Roma? Here's what we know. In the 10th century, northwest India was repeatedly invaded by a Turkic Muslim dynasty from Central Asia, the Ghaznavids. Under their ruthless leader Mahmud of Ghazni, they conquered large swaths of Punjab and Rajasthan and sacked Gujarat. Afterwards, they conducted annual raids in the subcontinent. The Ghaznavids used the plundered wealth from Indian cities to pay for expensive wars elsewhere.
We're going live at 5. Ooh, ow, we're going live at 5. Yes, 5. Ooh, nasty.
This damn game is going to be the death of me. All right. Let's see if I can get into a little bit. All right. So, yeah, I guess that's probably good for me. I guess we could kind of talk about when the Christians came here. And, of course, you can check this video out on your own if you want to watch the full thing. It's about 20 minutes long. I'm not doing all that. But I will get into the same thing that happened with them. Christians came, try to switch it up.
This time, some Roma splintered off even further and established themselves in the Levant and North Africa. Under the Byzantines, the Roma converted to Christianity just like the Sinti who arrived centuries before. As usual, however, their religious practice was out of step with the mainstream and included many Vedic Indian elements. Records indicate that they maintained systems of ritual purity and a form of caste subdivision, and these practices continue into the modern day. The Roma had a somewhat tense relationship with the Byzantines. Like the Sinti, they were also considered Athingani. A majority of Byzantine writings referencing the Athingani are critical of them, and there were many social and legal restrictions imposed on them. That being said, exemplary Roma could attain high positions, and there are records proving that a few had even obtained imperial titles. As with the Sinti, it's not 100% clear why the Roma continued to migrate west. However, most historians have pointed to the meteoric rise of the Ottomans in the 14th century. Under the Ottomans, the Roma would have been subject to conversion pressure and a jizya tax if they didn't convert. Sound familiar? As per usual, the jizya tax would have been oppressive for a group that already struggled to pay taxes, but that doesn't mean all Roma left Ottoman territory. In fact, many Roma simply converted and assimilated into Turkish culture to avoid paying the tax. In any case, with the Ottomans rapidly expanding to cover the territory once ruled by the Byzantines, large numbers of Roma migrated into the Peloponnesus, following in the footsteps of the earlier Sinti. Today, there are extensive records of Roma settlement near cities like Methoni. This migration was once beneficial to native Europeans. Consider the Venetian city of Napoleon. From the record, we're told about the installation of John. The Roma were expected to provide military assistance against Ottoman attack.
Now, that's them, again, asking the people who colonized them to help them fight, yada, yada, yada. All right. That's just a light introduction of who they are as how they got here. Then I'll get into a little bit about why it's important and why I'm bringing this up, especially for the African American community. If you're not within this community, this may not this might not apply to you. Sometimes when the American people get involved and the Catholics get involved, it gets really buddy. It gets really buddy. So what had happened was during the chattel slavery, it's probably be a new slave segment called "What Had Happened Was." When we just talk about slave stuff, the Black people that were enslaved but meshed with the Romanis during a enslavement camp, and that's how we have the Afro-Romanis, right? Now, how could that have happened? Well, nosy Caribbeans and nosy Jamaicans, Barbados, decided to get in on the deal and also enslave these people. So, which when you do that and you bring them around, you know what happens. So just like they did to us, just like there are some Africans and some Caribbeans who have had African American or African slaves who have enslaved Black people, they did the same thing to the Romanis. They jumped right in that pot with the Europeans again to get on that deal and enslave them as well. So yeah, so they got in on that. Unfortunately, that's facts.
Did that make you feel a certain way?
I hate to hear that Black people are selling other Black people, but I understand poverty and I understand why people are done in the first place. A good way to get shit done without having to do it yourself. One of the best sources of income that this country has ever had was the African American, and just a good person to be around. I understand.
You know we finally here, right? You know we finally here, right?
I understand. I understand high commodity. I understand that. But lights out. Why does it touch the light or anything? It's in my eye. It's in my eye. So I understand why you would want to, why you would want to. It was Twyla. I understand why you would want to get in on that deal because it's we were a good I don't know. We were something they'll never have again. You will never have a robot that was as good as a slave. Like maybe, but I mean, you know what's fucked up? I don't even think that they would treat AI. Let's say when we all start getting robots and shit, right?
Radar, sonar, laser beams, jets, tanks, submarines, megathons, beach bomb, napalm, all this shit will kill you fast.
When we start getting robots, do you think that when we start getting robots, do you think that they would treat the robots as poorly as they treated us, knowing that it's going to be their servant, feet warmer, fan person like we was doing? We had to fan them, we had to warm their feet, we had to do all these things. Once they have the robots doing them, do you think they would curse at them and try to rape them? I wonder. I wonder if it would make them go back. Who knows? Who knows?
I don't need
White people doing white people things.
Oh! You good? You good?
The best time.
Damn, I hate these streamers. If you want to make a million streams, you gotta click the shop. I'm not gonna believe how I got my skin like this. It's like, how do these guys get the contract or whatever it is? What is it? Internet contract?
I strongly believe that TikTok is a ticking bomb.
All right, I'm going to widescreen it out. And then we're going to get a biblical perspective of where these Afro-Romanians come from. I said my piece. I mean, I hit you with some facts. I mean, I don't know what you want. You know what I mean? This is the only show that starts at 6:30. I don't know what you want.
Did that make you feel a certain way?
We're going live.
So yeah, again, it was just their skin tone bothered the people a lot. They didn't like their dark complexion. They didn't care for just them being around. The same shit. The setting. They didn't want them to be at the restaurants. They didn't want to be outside in public. They didn't want to be anywhere where they were eating, playing with their children. No Afro-Romanians around. They've had to put them away, hide them. So another thing, yeah, they called them desirable. That was another thing. So they also had, just like us, a few Romanians that were able to pass. So they had passing Romanians. Now that would be what these guys are describing as Indian. They weren't Indian. They were just not as dark. You know what I mean? As they come, just how black people come. We're not all one shade. So the Afro-Romanians, same thing. They are multiple shades. So you could confuse them for Indian or what have you. Kind of like the Ethiopians look a little different black than how we look, etc. But this will probably explain a little bit more on the context of the African side of them, but mainly just the biblical context of what a Afro-Romani is. And maybe, again, same thing. I don't know why the Anglo-Saxon decides to persecute people who are in the Bible, who are considered holy or somewhat mythical, or whatever the hell that the Bible be saying. You know, I don't
regular. It's regular. No,
I don't know why they just decide to persecute and torture those kind of people like that.
Follow us on Instagram, connect on Facebook, wherever you get
your podcasts. We'll be right back.
Welcome to the Unraveling the Script, the Ancestral People of India. Now here is another even more mysterious question. Where did the Gypsies come from? These enigmatic people who have been shrouded in myth and secrets for centuries. The official history gives us some answers, but are they really complete? What if there were hidden connections, clues lost in time, that revealed a much deeper and more surprising origin? Today, we will delve into a fascinating investigation, combining evidence from the Bible, genetic discoveries, and historical records to unravel the hidden paths that connect the nations and truths that never have been told. Our channel, leave your support with a like. And if you are not yet part of this community of truth seekers, watch until the end and subscribe so you don't miss the next chapters of this intriguing investigation. What we
wouldn't be right without her makeup. She's never had a makeup. She just like you and me, but she's homeless. She's homeless. And she stands there singing for money. La da dee, la da da, la da dee, la.
It's hard not to care about the homeless, so they got you homeless.
You better make enough for you, but is she alright? Did you apologize? And then the mom says please, and she stands there singing for money. La da dee, la da la dee, la
Indians, according to the Bible.
Oh, we're gonna do it.
I can make the crowd go crazy. Make the crowd go crazy.
All right.
The origin of India's indigenous population is deeply connected not only to the Asian continent, but also to Africa, dating back thousands of years. Genetic studies and DNA analyses show that the inhabitants of the region, particularly in southern India, have predominantly African ancestry.
It was Twilight.
This connection is especially evident in the Andamanese population, who lived in isolation for long periods, preserving genetic traits that indicate an origin in the African region that now includes countries such as Ethiopia and Sudan.
Indian. This is what I was trying to say. Like, this is what they look like. That look like one of my cousins. That look like Ronell. Ronell, that's you? What you doing in India? Word. So these are Indians. These are Gypsy Indians.
The Black Hebrew is black.
Not your typical run-of-the-mill Indian or Gypsy that you're used to. But yeah, this is what they look like. This is what the Gypsies of the yesteryears look like before they got, watered down. Watered down.
You told me to take my high yellow ass inside that house.
Periods, preserving genetic traits that indicate an origin in the African region that now includes countries such as Ethiopia and Sudan. These African groups were pioneers in the first wave of migration that left the African continent, exploring new territories around the world. Starting from the Horn of Africa, they reached the Indian subcontinent, where they settled and integrated, with the highest concentration in southern India. Their presence shaped the genetic and cultural foundation of the local population, highlighting a historical link between Africa and Asia. Modern Andamanese people retain genetic traits that trace back to this initial migration, providing further evidence that these peoples were the first to reach South Asia. Moreover, among the descendants of these African groups are the Dravidians, whose genetic makeup reflects a high percentage of African ancestry. Together, The Andamanese and Dravidians sustain one of the largest concentrations of African DNA outside the original continent. This shared ancestry between Africa and India is not only a biological record, but also a milestone in understanding human migration and cultural dispersion throughout history. It reveals the ability of the first humans after the flood to adapt to new environments and shape entire civilizations, even in regions far from their original home. Ongoing studies of these genetic connections offer a unique opportunity to explore how ancestral migrations contributed to contemporary human diversity. The Andamanese are indigenous peoples who inhabit the Andaman and Nicobar Islands.
Look at these niggas. Look at what in the Wakanda is happening here. What in the Wakanda?
The Black
The African American woman is the backbone of the Black family.
Always rub the gang.
So that's what it is, fam? Yo, fam. These are Indians. These niggas look like wizards. I love it. What in the Wakanda?
Yeah.
Follow us on YouTube.
Of course. Girls on Spotify. Wait, is what?
Indigenous people who inhabit the Indian Ocean in jurisdiction. They are among the oldest and most isolated populations in the world, preserving a unique cultural and linguistic heritage throughout the centuries. On the other hand, the Dravidians are an ethnic group predominant in southern India and parts of Sri Lanka, known for their rich cultural and linguistic history. Their Dravidian languages.
The chat from Kick. Shout outs to Kick. Uh-oh. El Abdul Sultan Muhammad says, hello, nigga. Okay, so hypothetically talking here, if we were in the same room together and made eye contact and I started biting and licking my lip, would you join and lick my lips too and let me piss and fart on your beautiful face? It's for how much?
You know we finally here, right? You know we finally here, right?
Well,
come give daddy a hug already. Having fun. All right, got some hornies in the chat. All good. All good. So be alarmed.
Such as Tamil, Telugu, Kannada, and Malayalam, make up one of the major linguistic families of India, with significant contributions to the region's cultural identity.
So you think you know Wix, but do you?
Oh, geez. I know what people pay for YouTube, but it's not going to work. I mean, I feel like how many more things can you get, dude? I don't know. It's not going to work. I'll take the skip, and I'll take a little. Like you take half the commercial, skip it, keep it moving. I don't think I'm that spoiled to even if you're going to be playing the clips and shit. I don't think I'm that spoiled to get into that. No more money to these guys. They're so rich.
After the initial migration of African groups to India, A new wave of migration emerged with the arrival of Iranian farmers. In that is now Iran, these peoples crossed Afghanistan and Pakistan before settling in India. They were the first migrants to deeply interact with the local populations of the time, especially the Africans who already inhabited southern India. This interaction between Iranian farmers and the local inhabitants resulted in a significant genetic contribution to the composition of modern Indians. Studies indicate that, from this fusion, about 45% of contemporary Indian DNA is derived from Afro-Dravidians, while another 45% originates from ancient Iranians. This remarkable combination of genetic influences shaped the foundation of India's population diversity, reflecting a history of integration that dates back millennia. In addition to the genetic impact, the interactions between these groups brought...
You see why those niggas be so dark? They are African. You see that shit? They said 75% of Indians have African DNA. It's just a fact. That's kind of crazy. I don't know if they admit to that, because I know how they be feeling. They be bleaching their skin and doing all that crazy shit. But look, we do the same shit. There's Africans in Africa right now that are bleaching their skin. You know what I'm saying? So we all have a colorism issue. All right. If you're a race who's ever been oppressed, you're gonna have a color issue because that color was the issue. You know what I'm saying? So why wouldn't you trickle that down to somebody else? That's the same hurt people shit. So of course, most oppressed places have that same trickle down racism that you do on your own people. So I try to figure out why Indians have such a hard give dark Indians such a hard time, and then you go back to see that they have African DNA, and that's not something I don't think your average, let's just say, light-skinned Indian is going to be something they want to admit to. All right, let's get a little bit more into this, and then I'm going to get into why it's important. And again, if you want to finish the video, it's the origin of Gypsies and Indians according to the Bible. And I'll get into just a little bit more of their background, and there's the spirituality of them, and why I'm bringing it up. I'm bringing it up for a very specific reason. They are in the midst of a fight right now, and it's a very similar fight to something that you may have heard. You may not have known of. So yeah, I will get a little bit, but then I'm explaining a little bit more about my peeps. Welcome to Live at 5. The only show that starts at 5 o'clock. Damn near 6:30.
We're going live. For what? Speak English, we're going live at 5-ish.
Thank you for joining me. As always,
I wish a nigga
Like,
once again,
subscribe and share.
Shit. When you start the shit, you can't stop the shit till you finish the shit. I'm in the shit.
I guess it's Horny Friday in the chat.
Ooh, I mean, what better than this? Just a guess.
Profound cultural exchanges involving agricultural knowledge, social practices, and linguistic development. The Iranian farmers introduced cultivation techniques and social organization that merged with the knowledge of the local inhabitants, contributing to the formation of complex communities. This cultural synergy played a crucial role in the construction of societies that, to this day, preserve traces of these shared ancestral origins. The people of southern India still maintain high levels of Afro-Dravidian ancestry. Among them, the Telugus have about 55%, the Kannadigas reach 70%, the Zarulas attain 80%, while the Pania people have an impressive 87% Afro-Dravidian genetic heritage. Notably, the Pania share significant traits with the Andamanese, direct descendants of the Africans who migrated to India in ancient times. In addition to this deeply rooted African influence, the intermingling between Afro-Dravidians and Iranian farmers played a central role in the genetic makeup of the Indian population. Later, the Indo-Aryan ancestors also made substantial contributions to the region's genetic diversity. The arrival of the Indo-Aryans brought not only genetic contributions, but also a lasting cultural impact, especially in the linguistic field.
So yeah, so obviously it gets into everything from the dance to the culture to our fascination with spices and all this stuff. So yeah, I mean, look, it's pretty much, it's just like I said, you want to go check out the videos, the origin of gypsies and Indians according to the Bible, and the channel is Unraveling Scriptures. It breaks down like their whole origin, their how their spirituality and the things that they believed in during their slave times in the 13th, like all the way back then, 1370, the same sort of like spiritual mantras and things that they had to use to fight and keep on to keep away from those
White people.
They trickled it down to us. They passed it down. And again, not all. This is not a show where I make fun of white people. I'm just talking about the ones who enslave people. You guys got to stop doing that. All right. The reason why I'm bringing this up today, I was doing my research and I found out that they're in the middle of a reparations battle. Now,
it's twisted. Somebody did that thing to somebody else. That's somebody maybe has. It's crazy.
So yeah, they're in the middle of a reparations battle, and it's kind of scary because it's kind of like, it's a good thing because everyone should be paid for being chattel and building infrastructure and not getting paid for it. But I never know when another race and another group of people get it, does that mean it's going to trickle down to us? I never know that. But I'm not a hater. You know what I'm saying? I'm not a hater.
Yo, that's racist.
But if they get it before us, I'm going to be a little mad, but a little happy. And when I say mad, it doesn't mean like I'm going to start making videos shitting on Afro-Romanian now rich people because they're going to get the quiche.
We're winning. You see what's going on. So whatever you can do to help financially would be fantastic because we have to beat it. If it's $5 or $10 or $100, whatever you can do.
Yeah, once they get that quiche, they will be Afro-Romani penny, right? Quiche. So if they get their bread, which I hope happens, that has to mean us too, right? I hope. Who knows? I'll play the clip that inspired this thing. I'm gonna take a break. Come back. I'm gonna I got the video of them talking about their reparations. And we can discuss it together, and then we're gonna wrap it up because I'm sure you have something to do. I have something to do. This is not gonna be a long show tonight. We're closing in early, baby. All right? I got spaghetti to eat tonight. You better believe it.
Us. You know we finally here, right?
Lord, bear with me. How many of y'all watching Tyler Perry this weekend? Y'all watching Taraji? She gonna be laying on the floor or whatever, on drugs. I don't know. She's on a mattress doing something. Y'all watching that? Tomorrow, #1 movie streaming on Netflix. Straw by Tyler Perry. Why won't he stop? Because we keep watching the movies. You think that he thinks that, oh, we only watch it to make fun of it? No. He goes, you only make fun of what you can't do. That's my Tyler Perry. Not that good. You only make fun of what you only make fun of. You only make fun of what you can't do. I could do Medea. I can't do Tyler though. I can do Medea. It's like, child, you only make fun of, child, what you can't do. Child, fire my gun. That's something like that. Whatever.
I was like standing on the corner drinking 40s, smoking weed. And so God like pursued me though.
So I'll get into their reparations. We talk about their plight, how much money they want, and why it's important. Because I guess if they get theirs, maybe we'll get ours. I have no idea. I think it's important because they are the first enslaved group, a group of people. So that would be like some sort of, let's just say, turn of events. So bam, the first people enslaved, 1370. Then we get to the 1800s, and then that's it. You know what I mean? So that would be nice. That would be nice. That trickle down. So I say, yeah, for sure. Maybe that's the blockage. Maybe that's why we haven't gotten our reparations yet, because we have to start first. So let's start healing these Afro-Romanians first, because if they're the first ones, let's get them their money first, get their oppression financially compensated, okay? Get their due recognition about their plight and the shit that they went through. Get through the fact that Romania still to this day doesn't accept them as citizens of their country. Get them involved in some sort of therapy and careful consideration of their history and their strength and yada yada yada. Maybe some fucking movies, Get them a Marvel character or some shit. Let's get it going. But then, bam, we're next. I feel like that's a good. I feel like that's a good plan. I don't know. I feel like it's a good plan. All right, I'll put a little bit of their and hold on. Yeah, the origins of slavery. So we do the slavery. Yeah. All right. We'll do the slavery of them, and then we'll do the we'll get into their reparations. Fair enough. Fair enough. Okay. Welcome live at 5. The show starts at 6:30. We're almost done, guys.
We're going live at 5. We're going live at 5-ish. 6 o'clock. We're going live at 6 o'clock. 6 5.
You know we finally here, right? You know we finally here, right?
Well, it's Friday then. It's Saturday, Sunday.
Is that the first written attestation of Roman slavery in these territories appeared 635 years ago. In October 1385, Dan I, the Prince of Wallachia, gifted the assets of the then closed Vodica monastery to Tismana monastery. Those assets, which had been donated to Vodica in the early 1370s by Prince Vladislav I, included 40 Romani families. This written record leads us to a source, a means of acquiring slaves but not to the origins of Roma slavery. Some of the existing theories suggest that the original mechanisms for enslaving Roma was capture in warfare. It's not surprising that historians chose that explanation. In early medieval Europe, many of those enslaved were prisoners of war or were kidnapped or victims of pirates. Alexandru Gonza and other historians argued that when the Romanians were victorious in battles against the Tatars, who invaded the Romanian principalities in the 1200s, the Romanians captured Roma from the Tatars and then put them into slavery. On the other hand, Nicolae Gheorghe suggested that Roma had already been slaves of the Tatars when the Romanians captured them in war and continued to keep them enslaved. And Nicolae Gheorghe emphasized that in 1471, Stefan the Great, the Prince of Moldova, brought 17,000 Roman slaves as captives after a victory against Wallachia. Yet importantly, he does not embrace the idea that slavery originated with capture in warfare. Instead, he argues that when Roma arrived on the territories of the two principalities, they were free people. But a century later, social and economic conditions led enslavers to force the Roma into slavery. And indeed, Romani people were not members of the dominant population in Wallachia, who might be taken as prisoners of war. The 17,000 Romani people may have not been considered prisoners of war or human beings, but rather non-persons, commodities, or goods to be confiscated. And slavery had been documented in both Moldova and Wallachia since the 14th century. Thus, this example shows us one way that slaves were acquired and moved from one principality to another. An earlier historian, Petre Panaitescu, also argued that Roma were enslaved because of a critical need for labor, especially specialized labor such as blacksmithing, which some Romani groups had mastered. Other theories, especially those of Viorela Kim and Petre Pescut, prompt us to search elsewhere for the origins of Roma enslavement. Viorela Kim agrees that the institution of slavery was adopted in the Romanian principalities from the Tatars, and eventually the Romanians implemented it against the Tatars they captured in battle. But he argues that when Roma arrived in the Romanian principalities later in the 14th century as newcomers, outsiders, and nomads, they were also pulled into the existing system of slavery. And as the number of Tatars was very small in the 15th century, the Roma remained the only enslaved people. Petre Pescut argues that the Orthodox Church played a crucial role in what he calls the of the institution of slavery in the Romanian principalities. Having accepted donations of huge estates in the 14th century, the church addressed its workforce needs by taking advantage of the Roma status as a people who were highly skilled but were newcomers, outsiders, and not Christians. In Europe, the Christian church already had an established practice and tradition, may build on that piece of history. He also
So that's just like a deja vu to me. That's a deja vu. That's the shit. I mean, we started our Negroes because of the same premise of like colonization, stuff that happens to local neighborhoods, just the erasure of history that doesn't fit like in your photo album. There's like an American photo album, and there's certain parts of history that they put in the bottom of the book, and it's not right. You gotta go through the whole thing. You can't hide certain parts and just look at all the baby pictures, because it's not what it is. It's not all it's not pretty. It's not pretty. It's brutal. And not only is it brutal with us, then when you find out, because you're so upset of what happened to you, to your own race, and then when you find out, because you have empathy, you find out that it happened to another group of people the same exact way, the same horny, weird, um, body trading, organ trading, weird shit that you did to us, you did to these Afro-Romanians.
You better wake up. The world you live in is just a sugar-coated topic. There is another world. It's it, the real world. And if you want to survive it, you better learn to pull the trigger.
Slavery is the country's greatest shame, a black stain in front of foreigners. Will you dare to count yourselves among the civilized peoples, as long as it is possible to read in your newspapers, for sale, a young gypsy woman? The price of Romani slaves varied across time and depended on economic and social factors. The price of male and female slaves, as well as children, differed too. Petre Pescut calculated that from 1593 to 1653, male slaves generally fetched a higher price than female and child slaves did. And Orlando Peterson discussed how across slaveholding societies, slaves functioned as multifunctional money, understood as units of accounting or a standard of value, a method of payment, a medium of exchange, or a way to store wealth.
Follow us on
And
Instagram.
indeed, enslavers used Romani slaves as money. They treated them like any other valuable or possession and used them to make donations or to pay debts or mortgages. They also exchanged them for goods such as wine or animals. In 1689, as Adrian Fortuna documents, an enslaver justified the sale of a Romani child as follows. Because we needed a horse, we bought it from him with the money he gave us for the child, who should remain property of Marco and his sons. They also used slaves as dowries and as offerings to churches to have a sin forgiven and as gifts in memory of someone who had died. To conclude this section, I would like to emphasize that slavery constituted a central element in the development and growth of the Romanian economy. It was a critical source of wealth for the Romanian state, for the Orthodox Church, and for the Romanian aristocracy. Indeed, the forced labor of Romani people was massive. In fact, the institutions further used the process of abolition to ensure that Romani people, especially blacksmiths, stayed where they had been, as they were an irreplaceable and unique workforce. And so a large portion of the wealth gap in Romania stems from this history of economic exploitation, though little is known about it. Its effects on the Romanian Roma have not been well researched, as most quantitative research has focused on income poverty and multidimensional poverty. I would now like to turn to the condition of Roma slavery, particularly the relationship between enslavers and enslaved. We want to know, as Orlando Peterson put it, and I quote, how slaves adjusted to their masters and to their new condition, and how masters use their power in the relationship with the slaves. Race played a relevant role in determining the condition and treatment of slaves. One of the most valued books on slavery, entitled Slavery and Social Death by Orlando Peterson, examined 55 slaveholding societies and emphasized that 21% of them involved enslavers and enslaved people belonging to different racial groups. In the Romanian territories, the origins and skin color of the Roma made it possible to distinguished them as non-Romanians and non-Christians, vital elements in enslavement. And enslavers did justify the condition and the inhumane treatment of slaves to the racecraft of Romani criminality and inferiority. As Adrian Furtuna documents, in the 18th century, Dimitrie Cantemir wrote this about Romani slaves. They have the same aspects and customs as the gypsies from other countries. Their most important characteristics and what distinguishes them from others are idleness and robbing. Thus, this currently widespread racist idea that gypsies are deceitful or criminal also has deep roots in the past of anti-Romani racism. It was already documented in 1639 in the name of a Wallachian village, Țiganească, a name derived from Țigan, a racial slur, and also a synonym for slaves in the Romanian principalities. The Țiganească village gained that name because Romanian peasants, like enslaved Roma, had run away from exploitation and abuse. That exploitation was conveniently for slavers considered a criminal act. Escaping exploitation contributed to the present that enslavers had total power in the relationship with Romani slaves. Enslavers had the power to treat and punish slaves as they wanted, although the law prohibited them from killing Roma. However, as the French journalist Felix Colson wrote upon traveling to slaveholding Romania, slaves were, and I quote, often shot through the head and flogged to death upon any cause or no cause without the murder being noticed.
Are we frozen? Hold on. We'll get it. What a hiccup. We'll get it. No worries, no problems. We're good. Not gonna freak. This is what happens.
We're going live at 5. We're going live at 5-ish. 6 o'clock. We're going live at 6 o'clock. 6, 5. Ooh, that's it.
Frozen, but once I get on Frozen, I'll get to the closing. But it looks like I'm locked right now. Let me wait it out. But for now, I'll do the jingle. Hold on. Holy
For he is only a Tigoiner. Gender also contributed to the conditions of slaves. As in other slaveholding societies, enslavers had power over female slaves, leading to rape and abuse.
Okay, then, right. So, yeah, we got that. So I'm gonna get into the reparations. So she's basically just talking about the comparisons of African American slavery to Indians, the Afro-Romanian slavery. How they had the women being the
African American woman is the backbone.
They had her being of course, the catalyst, the one that just keeps breeding the more slaves, and then they of course made money off of it. So I would like to just share with you their proposal of the reparation plight for them. 1 second. All right, so pretty much, like I said, this is the comparison of what they went through and what we went through, the same plight. It's just if they came to some sort of, I mean, because the politics and the schools and the everyone they're talking about getting them some money. And don't keep in mind, all of my footage is old, so I would do a double down check to see where it's at. But for my understanding, this was in the early 2000s, 2020, 2022, something like that. So I don't think they've got any money yet, but I will double down. But to my understanding, they are trying to get reparations. So if that works and they do, the United States government understands that these people who were ostracized all the way back in the 1370s deserve some sort of compensation because of the stuff that they've contributed to this country and their struggles and what have you. They can't skip it. They can't skip us. Tonight I'm gonna not end on one of my rants or like scripted notes. I have a article from the thing that's crashing my computer from the Guardian that I want to share. And that's what it is. This is what's crashing my fucking computer because it's trying to, the only thing that you pay for the thing is to don't have the commercials that load without you wanting, and then you click on the commercial.
You know we finally here, right? You know we finally here, right? Well, it's Friday, it's Saturday, Sunday, it's Friday again. It's Friday, Sunday, it's Friday again. It's Friday,
Yeah. Odd Negroes on Spotify. Wait, it's what? Say it again. Odd Negroes?
ODD, Odd Negroes.
Oh, Odd Negroes. Yeah. I'm going to go online at Odd Negroes. What is he?
Yes.
Yeah.
4 generations were not scammed as slaves or former slaves. And to date, reparations for slavery have not been made. And this leads me to the last section of my lecture. In a recent chapter for our Time for Reparations volume, Jacqueline, Baba, and I suggested 8 ways to repair the harm of state-sponsored injustices. In the specific case of Roma enslavement, we suggest 5 forms of reparation: truth-telling, memorializing resistance, apology, compensation, and reform at the legal, policy, cultural, political, and economic levels. We intentionally chose truth-telling as a concept to encompass the broad variety of actions that are needed and possible to ensure memorialization and remembrance. The concept of truth-telling signals the importance of presenting an accurate account of the history without minimizing the experience of enslavement. A simple example would be pointing out that the enslaved were not the same as the peasant serfs. The field of history is supposed to be objective, describing not only war victories and heroes, but also painful episodes like the enslavement. The truth about Roma slavery is not yet being told. The truth about Roma slavery is not told enough. The truth about Roma slavery is not accurate enough. And the state institutions and the Orthodox Church play a critical role in this dismemory approach. It is not enough for Roma to remember. It is a matter of injustice for Romanians to forget. And I say that not in an effort to remain stuck in the past, but rather to use the past to grieve, heal, accept guilt, draw lessons, understand structural inequalities, break racial prejudice, shape the future, and balance power. Several concrete steps toward truth-telling will help to generate broader public awareness, along with better policies and engagement with the history of the enslavement, the enslavers, and the enslaved. Revised history textbooks, publication of complete historical records, creation of public memorials, the symbolic renaming of some city landmarks after Romani resistors and victims, and exhibition and other educational activities are needed to generate broader public awareness of and engagement with these issues. Also of vital importance are open, easy, and digital access to archival information about slaves, careful revision of history books, relevant memorials, and public acknowledgement. Incomplete past efforts to address truth-telling, such as the Romanian Commission on Enslavement, need to be reestablished. Romania has to launch a new, independent, Roma-led national commission to study the legacy of the Roma enslavement and propose measures on reparations. Equally important is memorializing the resistance of both Romani people and their non-Romani allies. Stories of resistance send a strong message of power, of speaking up and dignity. That is why the stories and history of the Netoci Roma must be researched and told. Another significant element is the role of non-Roma in the resistance and in abolishing enslavement, as well as in fighting other forms of state-sponsored injustices. These stories are relevant because in practice, they can have a lot of influence in convincing other non-Roma with more access to privileged and power spaces to join the fight against racism. The participation and support of non-Roma in fighting injustice should be a moral responsibility of our common societies.
Yes.
Romanian state institutions and the Orthodox Church have failed to issue a formal apology for the history of enslavement. Apologies should be done in a straight.
One of the things, even with yesterday's show, first of all, welcome. This is Live at 5. I know. Shout outs to this lady. I'll get Dr. Margarita Matache. Shout outs to the doctor. The empathy in her voice, you can hear the pain in her speech. And she's like the 4th generation of these people, right? Like, we saw how they look, the Afro-Romanians look. So she's like the watered down version of that. And she still could feel that pain and how there's been no apology, not even acknowledgement. A lot of things happen where people be like, "Oh shit, these people went off the grid." Do you know why they go off the grid? They go off the grid because they realize that the pain and suffering come from being on the grid. Pain and suffering and torture comes from trying to work with Europeans. Pain and torture comes from just having your skills that you know, trying to incorporate those skills with the Europeans and be an equal to build an equal environment, and then pain and suffering comes because you know how to do something that they can't. Then bad things happen, and it's not just us. So it's kind of like, why not go off the grid if being on the grid only causes pain and suffering?
You know we finally here, right? You know we finally here, right? Well, it's Friday, then it's Saturday, Sunday.
Straightforward manner by expressing regret, requesting forgiveness, acknowledging and admitting the harm, and accepting responsibility. And it is self-evident that the history of 500 years of economic exploitation stripped Romani people of any prospect of accumulating intergenerational wealth. Thus, the state and the church have a responsibility to mitigate that wealth gap. Also, for 5 centuries, Roma were coerced into forced, uncompensated labor. For instance, the Kashin monastery in Bakou was built in the 1650s by 800 Romani slaves. Thus, we suggest the state provide compensation in the form of money and land to the descendants of Romani slaves, and also make collective financial compensations in a variety of other forms, including housing, healthcare, education and scholarship, research, and funding for the arts. Finally, legal, social, cultural, and economic reforms are needed to reduce the legacy of enslavement and ensure an anti-racist approach and preventive measures to forestall further harm. To conclude my lecture, I would like to leave you with an old Romani saying that Ian Hancock documented in his book Pariah Syndrome. He who wants to enslave you will never tell you the truth about your forefathers. Con manghel te querel tu mendar, roburen, Ciso hapene la tu men o chachimos patumare peritonde. Thank you very much. Nice to get.
It's crazy. I didn't expect her to drop the haiku like that. That was crazy. This might be the best video of all time. Whoever's watching it, this will be the best video of all time if you watch the whole thing. You get hit with a haiku at the end. I'm bringing it back. Damn right, I'm bringing it back.
Do that make you feel
that? Take my skin off. Bring it back. Oh my God, guys. Guys, did you see that? Did you hear that? Did you fucking feel that?
We're going live at 5. We're going live at 5. 6 o'clock. We're going live at 6 o'clock. 6, 5. Ooh, that's it.
We got through this whole thing too. I'm so proud of everybody. I mean, sure, there's some middle parts that you should get into. She talks about the gender importance of slavery and how the Europeans love genders. That's why, like, when you think about like how gender is being such an important distraction. Not talking to the gays. I love the gays. I love the gays, but I can't help but notice that gender is becoming too much of a factor. gender was a profitable thing back then. So if we keep making gender profitable, it feels like another distraction of what we used to do back in the day. Let's just like, keep it in your pants. That's all.
It's a word that some gay man made up.
I think it might be here. What do you think? Right. Run it back.
It's not me. Come out of life.
Ian Hancock documented in his book Pariah Syndrome. He who wants to enslave you will never tell you the truth about your forefathers. Manghelte kerel tu mendar, roburen, ciso hapenela tu men o chachimos patumare peritonde. Thank you very much. Nice to get.
And the guy, yeah. Like I kept teasing the entire episode, the little video that got me into this whole thing in the first place. So I got that clip on the side. I'll end with that, and then that'll be it. No long-winded thesis, no nothing like that. I'm small, tiny. Okay, now I'm big. Okay. I hope that you enjoyed this. I hope you've learned something about the Afro-Romani people. And next time you see an Indian person, realize that they got a little black in them. 55%. Can't help it. That's how it is. I'm gonna get into because I got shit. I said I got spaghetti. I got spaghetti to eat. So I'm gonna get. And also, it's good to know we have gang out there. Listen, now we got 2 places to go: Africa, Romania, the dark sides of Romania, the dark-skinned Romanian side.
He told me to take my high yellow ass inside the house.
We'll understand each other. They'll understand us more than these Anglos do here. They don't get our plight. They get our plight. We go, Chado, ah! Always will be back.
So a lot of people want to know the backstory behind this photo, which shows 2 legendary African-American and Romani civil rights activists, the Martin Luther King Jr. receiving his Nobel Peace Prize in Stockholm, Sweden, alongside Katarina Taikon. And despite the fact that it looks like he's giving her the side eye in this photo, they are actually great allies. Katarina Taikon was a Romani activist who led the civil rights movement in Sweden. Yes, even Sweden was a racist. Katarina was born in a tent, at a time when Romani people were denied access to education and housing. She didn't even learn to read until her late 20s. She used very similar methods to MLK for the liberation of black and brown people. In fact, it was reported that MLK, upon meeting her, was taken away by her work. And the similarity between their struggles. Katarina's ancestors underwent centuries of chattel slavery in Romania, and MLK's ancestors went through the same in the United States. People in attendance said MLK and Katarina had a lot to talk about. They talked for hours. Our struggles are connected. Injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere.
All right, you heard the man, you heard the young man. So it's long term. We've been messing with them, the man them. I just wanted to share that with you. I hope it brings you joy that there have been more of a abolitionist plight connectivity, but also it's kind of sad to see that the European has been doing this since the 1300s. Fuck.
White people doing white people things.
They don't need to be. They don't need to be worrying about cavemen or fucking Flintstones. That wasn't them. If we can even go back, how much further do we have to go back to see how much they've been torturing people? It's fucking crazy. So the more I go back, the more they're just like, oh well, if God existed, so did torture. Those darn Christians. All right. I've been your host, Negros One. This has been Live at 5, the only show that starts at 6. I think we started at 6:30 today. Not bad. Maybe a little earlier. We didn't go too far. We didn't too over. We're almost at the 2 hour mark. Not bad. We're doing good timing today. Thank you for joining me. Could be anywhere in the world, but you're here with me on a Friday, and I appreciate that. This has been Black Gypsy Rose. My intention was to have Gypsy Rose there instead of Brad Pitt, but as I started going with it, her cross eyes there made me laugh too much, and the slavery part didn't really connect. So I didn't want somebody funny there while I'm talking about how these Afro-Armenians were being tortured. So I chose the latter, Brad Pitt as a gypsy, which is also cultural appropriation. So whatever, you do the math.
Oh, you good? You good?
All right, I've been on Negros 1. This has been Live at 5. Tomorrow I'll be doing a X Gonna Give It To You, where I'm just gonna fucking just low key t-shirt and reading some conspiracy theories on X and reading I got some white supremacy chat. I got some more chat from a different chat on white supremacy. We could dive into there that I saved. I think they were talking about George Floyd's ghost or something like that. We'll get into that. All right. This has been Live at 5, the only show that starts at 6:30. Thank you for joining me. This has been Black Gypsy Rose, the OG hustlers of 1370. We didn't know we had gang, but we do have gang. Don't forget to love yourselves and I love you back, okay? I mean that. Because a lot of you out there killing each other, just stop it. Stop it.
You know we finally here, right?
See you tomorrow.
You know we finally here, right?